You're tuned into Bayrak International. This is the main event. Now, I'm here with, would you like to introduce yourself with your real name or your born name?
Okay, I'm Tindegai Sadziwo.
And I did try and say that, and you said, no, let's just stick with Dr. NAZ.
Yeah. It's quite difficult if you're not a native.
So your friends will know you as Dr. NAZ as well, and you're from Zimbabwe. So through the interview, I will call you Dr. NAZ because that's what other people call you.
I'm good with that.
And we're giving you a little bit of an introduction so our listeners know who you are. You're a gospel musician. You're a music manager. And it says here, touching lives is of the utmost importance to this prolific artist, and his art is anything but predictable or stale. So welcome to the main event.
Thank you for having me, Denise.
Yeah, well, we did do an interview some time ago. You came in. How long ago was that?
I think
maybe
two
2 years, could be?
Yeah.
I'm glad it wasn't last week, otherwise I'd have thought I've really lost my memory. But you did do one with Joan Gazzi, and that went on to Northern Exposure, and that's when we caught up again. Now, obviously a lot's happened since I last spoke to you. You've given me your music list for this week, and we've got some of your songs. We've also got some songs by Jason, who is one of the artists that you manage. What song would you like to start with? Because we're going to go straight into a song.
I would start with Only Him because it's one of the first songs I ever did professionally in my professional music career. And it's quite a unique sound. It shows what I bring to the table. I bring unpredictable melodies, unpredictable sound, and I think from this you can see where I'm coming from.
Okay, so this is from Dr. NAZ, Only Him.
Across many things I collide, choosing what's right with my mind, my moves all frozen like my dough. Thinking about tomorrow makes me mad, my dreams so clear what I want to. Walking like a warfare commando, Lamborghini, Gallardo, Papa give me commando. Don't leave me on my own. See me depressed like I'm in stress. Leave me weeping like I'm in stress. I'll be waiting like a waitress. Seek ye the kingdom first.
Well, if you just tuned in, this is the main event. We've just listened to my guest, Dr. NAZ, with his song, Only Him. What year was this recorded?
Oh, this was recorded in 2017.
So quite some time ago now.
Quite some time ago.
Now, I want to know a bit about your background. You're actually from Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
And you are 27 years old now?
29.
29?
Yeah.
And so what sort of family did you grow up in? You've got brothers and sisters?
Yeah, I do have two siblings, one brother, one sister, beautiful sister. And, my brother is 2 years younger than me, and my little sister is really young. She's still in high school. Yeah.
So you're the big brother?
I'm the big brother.
Was it always your ambition to, at some point, leave Zimbabwe, or were you quite happy at that time there?
I've always thought of leaving Zimbabwe because I always felt bigger than Zimbabwe. I felt there was something out there that I could find. It's not only about the situation in my country, but I always aspired to look for greener pastures elsewhere.
What did your mum and dad think about this? I mean, you were the big brother, so you would have been the first one to kind of leave the nest.
Yeah. So my dad was against it. My dad was like, be here. Probably he wanted me to learn from him and probably, take care of the family. Also help him take care of the family and probably, be present. But then my mom was really encouraging because she knows I'm an ambitious young man. So she really supported me through that decision.
It must have been difficult for them as well.
It was.
I mean, had they ever left Zimbabwe themselves?
Yeah. My dad worked around Africa. He was in the military, so he was deployed to DRC. He was deployed on several missions in different countries. So he's been out a bit. My mom, not so much, but my dad has been out a bit.
You were there until you were 23. What was your life like? Is it very in Zimbabwe? I mean, is it very social? What would you have been doing at the weekends? I mean, playing music, I suppose, and singing gospel in the church.
Yeah, probably. But Zimbabwe is a very social country. People like to go out on weekends. They like to have probably family gatherings, do what we call braai, which is like...
braai, I remember the braais from my time in Bullworth.
Exactly. Yeah. So people... I probably would have social weekends, but I think by now I'll be probably married with kids, because in my country the pressure for that is quite much.
Yeah.
Out here nobody's looking at you.
At 29, exactly. So you'd have been...
I'll be a father.
You'd be considered quite, quite old, really.
Exactly.
As opposed to very young. So you are a gospel singer. So at that time, you'd go to church every Sunday?
Yes. Church has always been part of me. I mean, church, from a tender age, we were taught to go to church. Yeah. But then at a later stage, when I was in my teens, I really fell in love with the gospel. I really fell in love with Jesus Christ himself. So I really was an ardent believer and Christian.
And you still are?
I still am.
Yeah. You were actually quite young when you were in the choir, were you?
Yeah, I was quite young. I think I started being in the choir at an early age. Yeah. I was always in love with music. At first, of course, I didn't know where it would lead, but I was really in love with music at an early stage.
Okay, let's go into our second song. It's another one from you. It's Dr. NAZ, He Cares.
Yes.
Tell me the background to this one. When did you write it?
This one, I wrote it a bit recent. It was in 2019. And basically, I was going through a time in my life where it was dark. It was really dark. And I found hope in that place, and I found comfort in that place. And through my Christian background and my Christian nature, I leaned towards God and towards Jesus Christ. And I was like, you know what? No matter how dark it is, God cares. I'm going to pass through this, no matter what's happening to me. Not all the trials and tribulations are there for my betterment. So He Cares talks about that. It talks about how God cares, no matter what you're going through. Yeah.
Okay, I just want to say, I mean, at that time you would have been in the TRNC.
Yeah.
Was it a very lonely time for you, being away from home? I don't want to delve too personally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was lonely, because out here everyone is running their race. So it's a bit different from Zimbabwe, where you have relatives, you have parents, you have people looking out for you. Out here everybody's fighting their own battles. So sometimes it can get lonely. Some even fall to depression. But I thank God I have never fallen to that, and I give credit probably to to church, because I have always found comfort in church. Yes.
The grace upon my life undeniable. Goodness follow me all the days of my life. Yeah, trouble tried to face me, I'm unshaken. Darkness tried to take me, I'm untaken. You've been waiting for an answer. Life is shaky, are you forsaken? You're a warrior in the making. You have some questions in your life. Yeah, I do pray. So why it is so...
Well, that was Dr. NAZ and his song, He Cares, and you gave a good explanation as to the inspiration for that one. Mm-hmm. I want to talk to you now about when you left Zimbabwe, and were you looking for a course somewhere in the world that you could do as a student? Was that your motivation? You wanted to leave Zimbabwe, mm-hmm. and you found a course here in the TRNC?
Yeah. Actually, my dream has always been to be a big businessman. I always wanted to be in the business world. So besides the music, which I was pursuing, of course, but the major focus in my life has always been business. So when I came to TRNC, I wanted a place that could inspire innovative ideas, a place where while I'm doing school, I can be able to do more than just school. And I came to Cyprus, and it was just that.
It was exactly what you wanted.
Yeah.
You went to Cyprus International University. What was your first course that you did there?
My first course was electrical and electronic engineering.
So were you thinking about using that to go into some sort of business career? Or was it a stepping stone, really?
It was a stepping stone, but to tell the truth, I think it was also misinformation, because, from where I come from, if you're not an engineer, if you're not a doctor, if you're not a lawyer, then you're not really a graduate. So I think that was the mindset that messed it up for me, because I later discovered actually that I was in love with business.
So you could have done business studies, MBA
I could have
or
done
something.
Something inclined.
Having said that, it probably made your mum and dad very happy that you were doing that engineering course.
Exactly, it did.
The day you left, were all the family there saying goodbye? Was it very emotional, traumatic?
I still remember it was very emotional. I remember other family members even came, and I remember looking out looking at all of them there as I was going, and I was like, this is it. I'm leaving.
Were you thinking, am I going to regret this? Were there any regrets? Did you think,
I was actually excited. I was like...
no looking back.
No looking back. I was like, a new world, new people, new environment, new culture. I was excited. I'm an adventurer by nature. So I was really excited.
So tell me how you found us here in the TRNC. Did you find the Cyprus International website, or did you come here through an agent?
Actually, it was through a friend.
Through a friend. I'm always interested in the process of how people from so far away find our little piece of heaven here in northern Cyprus.
So apparently, by the time I came here, there was already a friend who was here. And our moms were actually friends too. Yeah. So that's how I knew that there's a place called Cyprus. But initially I was sold to the other side of Cyprus. But then later I was told, this place is peaceful, less stress, it's cheaper too, which is true. And I ended up choosing coming here. Yeah, and that's how I found myself here.
So first impressions when you arrived here, A, what were you expecting? And B, what did you find?
Okay. I think one of the major expectations that most Africans, when they come here, think of is they're coming to this first world. They think of skyscrapers, fully developed cities and all that, because we kind of have that. So when we're coming from Africa, we're like, Europe is it. So when we get there, we're going to see all this. So when I got here, I didn't see that. Though I did see, the infrastructure in TRNC is quite beautiful. But then, the expectation wasn't what I saw. But otherwise, I really enjoyed the rest of the things I found out here, including the weather, including the people. The people are amazing, and everything else. Yeah.
I was saying to you about the weather. Of course, we've had some extreme weather recently. And coming from Zimbabwe, whether you thought you were coming to sunny Cyprus and what your thoughts were on the winter here, but you said you quite enjoy it.
I enjoy it. The summer is hot, but then we have the beach. So that's beach season for you. So I really enjoy the summer. When it's winter, it's cold, but not snow cold. It's just raining, and it's okay. It's okay. By me, this is the best weather I could ever ask for.
Okay, let's go into a song. We're going to talk about your music and your music business. Now we've given people a clear impression of who you are, what you're like. We have got now...
Only One.
Only One. Tell me about this one.
All right. So Only One was a personal song where I was just appreciating God. I took time to just get personal and thank God for what He has been in my life and what He is. Because in my life, God means a lot. So in this song, I was just, it's a rendition to God for how awesome He is, how great He is. That's Only One for you.
Tell me about gospel songs. This may be a very uneducated question, but are they always about God, or can they just be about love sometimes?
They can be about everything. Here's the thing, gospel music is inspired by the Bible, and the thing is...
But the Bible's inspired by love.
Exactly. So the thing is, the Bible talks about everything, from marriage, love, anything you can think, money. Everything is there because it talks about the human life, how we're supposed to live and all that. So when I sing, it's almost every subject I touch on. Sometimes I even sing about love, like man-woman love. But the thing, I bring it with the knowledge and revelation that comes from the Bible. So unlike the world, I'm not going to be talking about things that inspire lust or these other negative... Greed, lust, selfishness, all that. But I'm going to bring it into light with the revelation from the Bible. So I can sing basically about anything.
So when you chose your music, and I hadn't heard it, I said to you, there's certain tracks we can't play. And I was discussing it with my producer, and we said, no, but he's a gospel singer, so the songs will all be fine.
Clean. Yeah. Clean, obviously, because even the people I work with, I try to make it clear cut that I don't tolerate anything outside of what I believe. If I don't believe in that, then we cannot work.
Well, we're going to talk about your work with Jason afterwards. First of all, we're going to listen to Dr. NAZ with Only One.
When I see you, gonna send your mercy. You're the one that went ahead and blessed me. Take me from the bottom to what they see. I could never end this type of blessing. Tell me anybody with a kindness a mess. Tell me me where I can get this type of bless. Real kind of love with a real kind of vibe. Show me another who can give me.
That was a very moving gospel song from Dr. NAZ, Only One. I'm here in the studio with, come on, tell me your name again. I'll try and pronounce it again. At the beginning of the show, when we're off air, I said it's Tendakai Zadziwa. And you said,
that's better.
Is that better? Because at that time you said, I think we'll just stick with Dr. NAZ.
No, I think you have improved. Something happened in the show.
Thank you. Anyway, I'm still going to call you Dr. NAZ.
That's okay.
So I want to talk to you about your music influences, first of all. Obviously gospel, but who that I would know that's mainstream, who's a gospel singer, influences you? Or is there no one? Or are you just your own influence?
Mainstream.
Fairly
gospel.
mainstream. Who might we know?
I would say Frank Edwards, but I don't think you know Frank Edwards.
No, but anyway.
Okay, tell me one gospel singer that you might recall.
Don't really know, I can't think. But I mean, Dolly Parton can be a bit gospel, can't she?
Yeah, but those are really old school, like...
Old school, like me?
Yeah, I know.
What are you saying, Dr. NAZ?
I'm saying nothing. Anyway, what I wanted to say was... I'm a very unique artist, and I try to be unique as much as I can. But I wouldn't say there are no inspirations from the past. There have been, even in terms of people in the world. Like, I'll say in terms of rap, there have been people like Tupac. I don't aspire to be like him in terms of life, but I aspire... Life
and death.
Yes, life and death. And the way he lived, what he believed, I'm not about that. But I do appreciate the artistry. I do appreciate what he did in the music industry. So he also inspires some of my elements in hip hop. So there are people like that, and there are many other people in the world who actually did a lot in terms of music. I'll talk of people like Oliver Mtukudzi from my country. I'll talk of even Western legends like you're talking about, Dolly Parton and stuff. I used to listen to old school music because of my father and my uncle. Yeah. So I do have an idea of all those guys. So I have had obviously influences from some of those people, but majorly when it comes to gospel music, most of the people are a bit young. They are, they're in this generation.
Are there any famous gospel singers from Zimbabwe? Is it a thing there, gospel singing?
It is. Africa and gospel music. It's
go hand in hand.
Part of it's part of us. In Zimbabwe, I would say there are famous people, but internationally recognized a bit. So not yet. We're not yet on the global map as much.
Well, do you actually play yourself anywhere? Do you ever go out to a bar with your friends and take your guitar and...
Okay, we have done that before, but then, currently, no. I've been more focused on managing other artists.
Which is what we're going to come on to.
Exactly.
So tell me about Jason. That's Jaysun.
Exactly.
I met him at a previous interview, but tell me about him.
Jason is a young, very inspiring guy who's really out to leave a mark in the music industry. He's ambitious, and when I met him, he's really original. He's got a sound, and he's really coming up well. So I was like, I think I can work with this guy. He also has the same values I have. I told him what I want is positive impact to the world. Whatever we're going to put on the mic should be inspiring. It should be positive, and we have to bring to the world a lot of good. There's a lot of evil being passed around. So he came to me, and we decided to work together. And I've been managing him since.
Do you have a record label? Is it Crib 9 Records?
Exactly. We do have a record label coming up. We started, it's a young record label. Of course, we're still putting everything together. But yeah, we do have a record label, Crib 9 Records.
How is the facilities here in the TRNC for, making songs, making music, recording studios or whatever? Is it difficult to find?
No, it's not. It's actually very accessible. There are stores that sell music equipment. I mean, it's very accessible. Yeah. It's just your money that you can buy. Yeah. But otherwise, it's very accessible.
Now, what about this music, the music that you chose today? How can you monetize it? Is it on any streaming platforms where people pay to download or...?
It is. If you look at music, it's very expensive. If you're not going to monetize it, no matter what, you're not going to be sustainable.
No, you have to.
Exactly. So our music is on every platform you can think of. Any streaming platform, you search Dr. NAZ, you'll find Dr. NAZ. And also, even if you go on Google, general Google, and then you say Dr. NAZ music,
It will come up.
Yeah, the music is going to come up.
So explain to me how this works. How can you make money? You go on a platform where people pay. Is it like a fairly nominal amount? So you're wanting thousands of people to download it to make a decent amount of money, or is it expensive?
Yeah.
I mean, I've never paid yet. Is that bad? Maybe it's my generation.
No, it's cool. So you really need that attention from people, and you really need that loyalty, that loyal fan base for you to start making sensible money. So basically, if you're still, because the money is so small. For example, Spotify, for 1,000 streams, you get paid $3. For 1,000 streams.
My goodness me.
So that's not a lot. But then it compounds when you think of, if you manage to get a fan base of about 50,000 people who are loyal to you.
Yeah.
And then those people buy, for example, an album. I understand an album can be $10 on
but if you've got 50,000 people, then it's worth it.
So then it's worth it.
I see that you did a performance with Sinach. A concert in Northern Cyprus. Is he very well known as a gospel singer?
Sinach is one of the most prominent global gospel musicians right now.
Really?
Yeah, she's big like that. So she's from Nigeria.
Yeah. And
she's one of the success stories of Africa.
So that would have been a really good moment for you to get your name out there, to be performing with her.
It was. And it was an honor. It was an honor for me to be there.
And it's getting your name out there as well. I would imagine it was covered quite well. Were there a lot of people there?
There were a lot of people, and it was done in Acapulco Hotel,
one of their conference center.
Exactly, which is a very beautiful place, I might add.
Okay. All right, let's go into another song. Well, actually, let's talk a little bit more about Jason before. This song is Nervous. Did you write it or did he write it?
No, he wrote it. He's a good writer. He's really a good writer, and you will listen to his sound. He's an amazing young man. I can't wait for you to listen.
Okay, well, we're going to listen right now. We're not going to waste any more time. We're going to listen to Jason and Nervous. That was Jason and Nervous, and a very interesting song, good song. I saw on your bio you said this was to do with your songs. Listeners will be treated to exquisite production, meticulously crafted earworm hooks and powerful verses. I love the earworm hooks. That's when you get an earworm and it goes round and round and round, and you wake up and you go to sleep hearing it. I suppose that's what every writer wants to get, an earworm hook. Okay, I'm going to ask you, what's going on in the future? I think, have you got any more albums coming out? Your album before was All Your Life. That was in 2017. Yeah,
I do have an EP and an album coming up. But my focus this year, particularly in Northern Cyprus, is we're working on a program, and it's called Crib 9 Colors. So we're trying to give opportunity to undiscovered talent. So if you're talented and you're in Cyprus, whether you're Turkish, you're Cypriot, you're Zimbabwean, any nationality. So we're giving an opportunity for people to come there, perform, show the world what they're made of, what they can do. So that's the project I'm focused on right now. But also I'm working on an EP. It's called Tutautere, which is it's going to be in the language from my country. And I decided this time I always fuse genres from other countries. I fuse Afrobeats. They're from Nigeria. I fuse R&B. I fuse, all these other, genres. But I've never really played around with our traditional sound from my country. So what I'm doing right now is I'm trying to bring Zimbabwe to the world. And that brings me on to, what do your mum and dad think about your success, your albums, your music? Do they understand now why you're here and why you wanted to spread your wings? Well, my mum understands. As I told you, I feel like for every guy, the mum is never the problem. The mum will always support you. But your dad. The dad. Because, dads have expectations. They're like, by this time you should be doing this. By this time you should, as I told you should have a family. You should be responsible. You should be doing this. And, chasing your dream is expensive. It's expensive. It costs and also, you time. Need to be happy, exactly. It costs you time. But then it also brings happiness and fulfillment, which is what I'm about. But it costs you time. So by now, my dad has expectations, and I know to some extent I disappointed them in many regards. But he does appreciate the fact that it's working out for me, whatever I'm doing right now.
Exactly. I don't think he'd be disappointed generally just in that aspect.
Of course.
Because you're a wonderful person, and that's what counts in the long run. Are you planning to go back anytime soon, or you just want to establish yourself more here first?
This year I'm going. I miss my mom. I miss my mom. I really want to see my mom.
And of course, COVID must have made it difficult for all that period of time as well.
Exactly. So I intend on visiting my mom in a few months' time.
Is it very difficult to get from here to Zimbabwe?
No, it's not difficult, but it's expensive. It's expensive, as you might guess.
You'll have a fantastic time.
Yeah.
We touched on it a little bit before, but I think there is quite a lot of loneliness amongst the students here, away from their families. Do you tend to kind of look out for each other if you can? Or you said before everyone's running their own race, so it is difficult.
So it's difficult, but personally, I think I have found myself among caring people. I have a few friends. Shout out to Everton. Shout out to Daniel. I cannot list them all, but I have found a family away from family.
It's difficult. Is that where the church comes in, though?
Yeah, the church also comes in there because it's like a big family that you have away from home. People look out for each other there. And I think it kept me going in many instances where I would have broken down or had depression or anything. So TRNC is like that. I believe if I were to give a message to anybody out there, and if you're a student in TRNC, it's good to look out for each other, care for each other, and then, just be there for each other.
I'm always aware of this, when I meet people, students, they're quite young, and I'm very mindful that they are away from their families, their friends, their country, and sometimes you go in a restaurant and there's someone maybe working there, a student, I always try and ask them, what are you studying? Just a little kind word, a little bit of friendship can make a lot of difference. I think we sometimes don't realise in our busy lives, and we have families here and jobs, that some of the students here are really struggling. Doing their best but struggling.
Very true.
Okay, so what have you got coming up for the future? What are you planning? We've talked a little bit about the work you want to. It says here, and the best is yet to come, and it's definitely on its way.
Exactly.
Is that how you feel?
Exactly. I feel like that. Because as a musician, I've been growing. I've been learning. I've been growing. I mean, even my sound has evolved.
Yeah.
And even my writing, my songwriting is getting more complex. You understand? I used to be a simpleton when it comes to music. As you were asking, you were saying, is gospel music all about God? What are you always talking about? But then gospel music is much more. Yeah. It's a message that has to be heard. It's a positive message that has to impact the world. So I have learned to incorporate great artistry, great songwriting to my message. It doesn't make sense to deliver poorly written songs and say, I'm doing gospel music. Listen, no, it doesn't work. I want to be the best in the industry and be compared with those that are doing whatever other genre they're doing.
That's a fantastic, ambition to have, and I'm sure that you will get there. If anyone wants to contact you, you mentioned about this, what's it called? Something Colours? What do we call that?
Crib 9 Colours.
Yeah, Crib 9 Colours. Yeah. Where anyone who has any sort of talent who wants to develop a bit can join in. How can they contact you? Okay, for that particular show, you can look for Crib 9 Records. Yeah. On any social media platform, Facebook, Instagram, everywhere. Just go at Crib 9 Records. So anyway, people can find Crib 9 Records on social media if they Google it. And obviously you have a Facebook page, but that's under your actual name, which I'm not going to attempt again. I did it once. But I do have a Facebook page, which is not the one you are talking about. No, it's Dr. NAZ. It's Dr. NAZ. Anywhere you look for me, Instagram, Facebook, Google, anywhere it's Dr. NAZ. And why Dr. NAZ? Why Dr. NAZ? So, your parents happy you're a doctor now? Yeah. As I told you first, if you're not a doctor, if you're not a lawyer, now I am. So I think they're good. So the NAZ stands for National Army of Zion. Those who are Christians understand what it means. And also NAZ could be short for Nazareth. See? I like your creativity. See? on the hoof. Awesome. I want to thank you so much for talking to me today. It's been really, really interesting. I love, hearing different stories from different people, and I'm sure our listeners will enjoy listening, and they'll be listening out for you as well. Thank you very much, Denise. It was a great pleasure sitting with you and chatting.
very amazing. You're a very amazing presenter. Thank you
so much. And big thank you to actually Jan Ghazi, the Ghazi, for, actually he interviewed you earlier this week, which jogged my memory into knowing that we've met before and wanted to talk. So big thank you to him.